My name is Ted. I'm currently single and working at a company.
Today, I came to a hotel for my high school reunion.
But then,
People with low incomes can never afford a car.
the one arrogantly making this statement behind me is my classmate, Alex. Alex looked at my face and burst into loud laughter, without noticing the person approaching from behind him. I grew up in a single-parent household.
It was me, my brother, and our mom living in an old house.
My father passed away from illness shortly after my brother was born. I hardly have any memories of my father. They say he was a frail man who couldn't work much.
Because of that, although both my parents worked, our family was poor.
I think it was also because of my father's medical expenses. Then I was born, and my brother was born.
My brother was also weak and spent most of the year in the hospital. So, my mom was always at the hospital. She would make my breakfast early in the morning, drop me off at daycare, and then go to the hospital. After that, she would work part-time, stop by the hospital on her way back, pick me up from daycare, and go home. She'd do the housework, sleep, wake up, and repeat this every day.
That was her routine.
By the time I was old enough to understand, this was normal to me, so I never felt lonely. I thought I had to make sure my brother, Chris, didn't feel lonely because he had a weak body.
Mom, I'm okay.
Chris would be sad if he's lonely. He's going through a tough time, so please be with him.
I used to say this to my mom a lot.
And it seems my words made her feel forgiven. Even when I started elementary school, our routine didn't change much.
One thing did change. The daycare used to keep me until 8 p.m., but the after-school program only kept me until 6 p.m.
I stayed at the after-school program until 6 p.m., then went home with my key, turned on the lights in the dark house, did my homework,
and waited for my mom to come back.
At first, I thought about cooking, cleaning, or bringing in the laundry. But after I fell off the porch while bringing in the laundry, my mom told me not to do anything.
I thought I was keeping it a secret.
I tried to act like nothing happened when she came home. But when she saw the bandages on my scraped knee and palms, she immediately knew. She rushed to me with a tearful face.
Ted, if something happened to you, I wouldn't be able to go on. It's nothing. I'm sorry, Mom.
I just wanted to help you. You've already done so much.
It's okay, alright?
I'll take care of the laundry.
Just promise me you won't try to climb and bring in the laundry from the balcony, okay?
Okay.
I'll help when I get bigger and can reach it. Thank you. Maybe when you're in 4th grade? She patted my head.
In truth, I wanted to cook and wait for her to come home, tired from work. But using the stove and knives alone was still too dangerous for me. I thought I could handle cleaning, so I tried using the vacuum cleaner, but I was told it was too soon for that too.
Instead,
I started using a hand mop for cleaning.
Mom always praised me, saying, Ted, it's a big help that you clean up. The same went for studying. I was good at it.
I wasn't particularly smart. But spending so much time alone or at the after-school program naturally meant I had a lot of time to do homework and study. So, I completed my homework perfectly, and in my spare time, I played with math drills and even studied Spanish.
As a result, my grades improved.
Mom praised me when she saw my test results.
Ted, you're really hardworking.
I was happy to be called smart, but my mother always praised me by saying, "You're a hard worker."
I was pleased with that.
I was thrilled that she acknowledged my effort and noticed me, so I was always close to her. However, our time together was short. In the mornings, she always left the house earlier than me. After I started elementary school and became more independent, she took on an early morning job. I always reheated the breakfast she made, and her handwritten note would send me off with, "Have a great day."
After school, I went to the after-school program, and at 6 p.m., I headed home. I'd clean the house and wait. Mom never came home before 8 p.m. I'd take a bath, study, and wait. She'd come home after 8 p.m., we'd have dinner, and by 10 p.m., we'd go to bed.
I loved holding my mom's hand. Even without words, holding her hand gave me a sense of warmth.
When I felt lonely, I'd secretly grasp one of her handkerchiefs hanging out to dry.
I'd tell myself to endure because I was the big brother.
Chris was having a hard time. Chris couldn't even go to school. I wasn't suffering, and I could go to school.
I felt grateful for that.
So, I shouldn't feel lonely. I shouldn't trouble mom.
I'm the big brother, so I'll be fine. By the time I was in middle grades, I could bring in the laundry and handle the vacuum cleaner. I started with making simple vegetable salads and gradually began cooking more complex meals.
I was happy about that.
Mom repeatedly instructed me on handling knives and using the stove, emphasizing the need for extreme caution.
Everyone starts using these things eventually.
You might get small cuts at first, but avoid major injuries at all costs.
Be overly cautious. All right? Please. She gently told me.
I was thrilled that she trusted me.
This made me work even harder on chores and studying. By the time I was in upper elementary, I could handle most household tasks.
This significantly eased Mom's burden, and I was incredibly happy to contribute to the family. I also started doing the grocery shopping, naturally learning how to save money. Before payday, money would get tight, so we'd sometimes get by with bean sprouts. When we were low on rice, we'd stretch it out as porridge. I always thought about how to make meals for my mom and me as delicious as possible. I kept studying, and by the time I entered junior high, I was always at the top of my class. But there was always one guy who made fun of me. His name was Alex. This guy had been picking on me since first grade.
"Hey, Ted. You don't have this, do you?"
He'd wave the latest game console in front of me.
"No, I don't." "And aren't we not supposed to bring games to school?" "Shut up. It's fine as long as you don't get caught." "Is your life any fun just studying all the time?" "You're such a boring guy." "I'm going to a party soon." "A party? Ever been to one?" "No, but I'm happy as I am." "Just leave me alone." I wasn't exactly antisocial, though.
There were other kids from poor families in my class.
And kids whose parents both worked and stayed at the after-school program until the end like me. We had an unspoken understanding, and I played with them using the toys at the after-school program, so I never felt sad.
"Hey, have you ever been to karaoke?"
"No, I haven't." "Karaoke is amazing. There's a screen on the wall. Did you know that? And there's a phone in the room where you can place orders. And when you order, the staff brings it right away. Isn't that awesome?" "Yeah, that sounds great. You want to go too, right?" "No, I'm good."
"You're such a boring guy."
"I'm offering to treat you. Don't you secretly want to go?"
"Just say, 'Alex, treat me.'"
"I don't need it. Anyway, I'm going to the after-school program, so I'm heading home."
"Hey, wait up."
I left Alex yelling behind me. Alex was pretty good at studying.
Whenever the teacher asked, "Who knows the answer to this question?" he'd raise his hand. He wanted to be a class representative and participate in events, and since he was tall and athletic, he was popular with the girls. He always boasted about his wealthy family and had the latest toys and games. He'd invite a bunch of classmates to his house to play with them.
I'd never been, but I heard they always had plenty of foreign snacks.
I didn't mind that he enjoyed those things, but I wished he wouldn't try to impose them on me. Even after entering junior high, Alex was still in the same school. I actually got into a super famous private school, but this one's closer to home.
He'd always say so. He really was one of the top students in the class. He was athletic too.
Still tall, still handsome, and popular with the girls.
He wanted to join the soccer team and kept pestering me to join too. "Hey, Ted. You should join the soccer team." "No, I'm not joining any teams. Soccer players are popular, you know? I don't need to be popular." "Why are you giving up?" "You're missing out on the fun of youth." "I'm not giving up.
I'm focusing on household chores."
"That's so lame. That kind of thinking is outdated."
"In the future, values that don't depend on gender will be mainstream."
"You're so annoying.
Just join the soccer team already." "Well, I'm off to visit my brother at the hospital." I left Alex shouting behind me and headed to the hospital with a change of clothes for my brother.
When I started junior high, I stopped going to the after-school program. Instead,
I would go to the hospital after school to change my brother's clothes, spend about an hour talking with him, and then head home. Mom was grateful because this allowed her to work longer hours. I worried that she might collapse from overwork.
If mom collapsed, I'd be all alone.
I wished she could rest a bit, even if it meant eating stir-fried bean sprouts every day. After visiting the hospital each day, I do the shopping on the way home.
Once home, I'd do the housework and then study.
Mom would come home around 8 p.m. and we'd eat dinner together, take a bath, and then I'd study some more before going to bed.
Mom, just wait 3 more years.
When I graduate from junior high, I'll start working right away.
One day, I said this to her. But mom was shocked and responded firmly. Ted, you must go to college. No way. You're too talented for that. But why? You're working so many hours every day. You'll collapse. It's normal for a parent to support their children. I'm doing this for you and Chris, and I can handle it. You have your own life, Ted. You can't just get by for the moment. Life is long, and in the real world, education often determines your opportunities. If you only have a junior high education, life will be tough. Understand?
It's strange that your worth is determined by your education.
But that's the world we live in. Even so, I'd rather work now for the present than go to college for the future. Please, do it for me, Ted. Go to college. We argued for a while, but in the end, I gave in.
Usually, mom would propose a compromise or respect my wishes, but this time she wouldn't budge. I agreed to borrow student loans and work part-time to attend high school and college. When I started junior high, I spent about an hour each evening with Chris. When he was feeling well, I helped him with his studies and talked about school. Chris was often hospitalized, but he dreamed of becoming an independent adult. To prepare him for the future, I told him about the outside world, which he found fascinating. Chris listened to all of it with wide eyes and a cheerful smile, clearly enjoying himself. Even the most trivial stories seemed fresh to Chris. For me, Chris and mom were everything. No new game or fun activity mattered. In the fall of my first year in junior high, there was an election for the student council for the following year.
Each class had to decide on one volunteered candidate and one nominated candidate. When deciding the nominated candidate, someone in the class said, "I think Ted should do it." I was stunned. What are they talking about? I thought there was no way I could handle such a significant role. At first, I wondered if it was a joke, but the person who nominated me seemed sincere. Everyone else seemed calm about it. I was the only one feeling nervous. Then one of Alex's female followers raised her hand and said, "I think Alex should do it." This led to a runoff between Alex and me. In the end, I won by 3 votes. Alex's glare was intense. Alex then ran for the student council through the volunteered candidate slot. Out of 5 classes, 10 candidates would be selected. Alex's supporters cheered with glittery fans. Candidates wore sashes and campaigned during morning and evening commutes. It felt like a festival. Alex's followers trailing behind him reminded me of fans following a pop star. I'm sure Alex will win. I'll make sure you get the most votes. We'll combine all our efforts. I'll ask the seniors in our club to vote too. As for me, I was too busy with household duties to campaign in the mornings and after school. I tried to get my homeroom teacher to let someone else take my place, but he said, "Campaigning is voluntary, so you'll be fine." So, I reluctantly participated. I worried that if I came in dead last, it would be embarrassing. Then came election day. The candidate and their sponsor each had a 2-minute time slot for speeches, and it was during that time that the sponsor spoke. Ted comes from a single-parent household. His brother has been hospitalized for a long time. Ted's mom has worked hard, taking on the role of both parents, and Ted has been handling household chores since elementary school. Despite this, he's always been the top student in his grade. Even in junior high, he remains at the top. I hadn't expected this. Although I hadn't hidden it and all my friends from elementary school knew, I never expected my private life to be exposed in front of everyone. I feared being mocked, but instead, the students responded with comments like, "That's amazing," and "He's incredible." I didn't do all this for praise. I did it so my beloved family could live better lives. So, I felt embarrassed. But it also made me happy to know some people were paying attention. Then came the results. No way. The election results were posted the next day,
and I was surprised when I saw them.
My name was at the top of the list.
As a result, the student council for the new second-year students included me in first place, Alex in second, and 2 girls. Alex's female supporters seemed very disappointed, but some girls said, "It's nice to have serious Ted and cheerful Alex, it balances out."
Having been elected, I decided to give my best in my student council duties. Committee activities took place during the 6th period every Wednesday.
All students were part of some committee during this time. Those in the beautification committee cleaned,
while those in the health committee checked the class first aid kits.
At our junior high, there wasn't much need for additional student council activities in the mornings or after school, so I managed well. The only exception was raising and lowering the flags in the morning and evening, which took about 10 minutes. I served as a student council member in both my second and third years and went on to the top public high school in the county.
There, I was the top student upon entry and was tasked with giving the opening address. Alex, who also entered the same school, seemed envious.
I was sick on the day of the exam, so I missed first place by 2 points to Ted, he loudly claimed. I didn't know if it was true or not, but he always made such statements.
Alex remained as conspicuous as ever, with his outstanding looks.
In middle school, he continued to grow taller, and his body, strengthened by soccer, became well built.
Even as a guy, I thought
he seemed likely to be popular. In high school, I continued student council activities. While I didn't always hold the top spot academically, I consistently ranked in the top 3. Thinking about my future, I decided it would be best to have a profession.
I aimed for medical school. But I knew medical school was expensive. Then Mom showed me a bank book. "This is for you."
Mom had saved up money from Dad's life insurance and added to it every month. I was shocked, knowing how much she had scrimped and saved every month.
"How could you save so much with Chris's medical expenses? Ted, both you and Chris are precious to your father and me. We wanted to provide equally for both of you."
Mom had saved as much for me as she had spent on Chris's medical care.
I cried. And I made a vow.
I would become a doctor capable of saving lives, like my brothers. I entered the medical course in high school and studied even harder, aiming for medical school. Alex also aimed to enter medical school, so we were in the same class for 3 years.
While managing student council duties, I studied every day. I woke up early, had a newspaper delivery job.
After coming home, I would make breakfast and a packed lunch, then see my mother off.
Then I studied before heading to school. After classes and supplementary lessons, I visited my brother in the hospital to change his clothes. I did the shopping on the way home, cooked dinner, and studied.
When Mom came home, we had dinner together. Then I took a shower, studied at night, and went to bed.
I kept up this routine. As a result, I received an A rating for my preferred National University's medical school. Then came the day of the entrance exam. What? Chris? It was early in the morning and we were still sleeping. A call came from the hospital. Our house was small, so you could hear the phone ring from any room.
From my room, I heard Mom's voice filled with shock.
Chris, who had been suffering from the flu for a few days, had developed complications and was in critical condition. The doctor said we should be prepared for the worst and advised us to call the family. But in our case, it was just Mom and me. Naturally, I got ready to go to the hospital. "You need to take your exam." Mom spoke firmly. I shook my head. "Are you kidding? What's more important, the exam or Chris? Let's go quickly." I spoke calmly. This might be the last time I could see Chris. There would be another exam next year. Chris might not even have another day.
Mom pleaded with me, tears in her eyes.
"Please, Ted. Chris's life is important, but so is yours." Seeing her cry, I sent her ahead. I lied to her. "Okay, I'll go take the exam." But instead, I took the bus right behind hers to the hospital. When Mom saw me, she scolded me like never before. "This is your life," she cried. But knowing we shouldn't make a scene in the hospital, she respected my decision. Chris was in the ICU, connected to many machines. He was unconscious, and Mom and I held his hands for a while. Chris's condition suddenly worsened, and he was taken to the treatment room. After several hours, Chris miraculously pulled through.
When the doctor said he's past the critical stage, the exam time was long over. I knew that if you got an infectious disease, you could retake the exam, but it didn't apply to my situation since I wasn't the one who was sick. I had already prepared for this, so it was okay. I accepted it as something that couldn't be helped. When I returned to school on Monday, Mr. Johnson, my homeroom teacher, said, "It must have been tough." Alex found me in the morning and grabbed me by the collar. "Why didn't you show up?" Alex also applied to the same local National University's medical school, so he knew that I hadn't shown up. I averted my eyes. I didn't understand why I was being blamed. Alex should be happy that one less rival showed up. Ignoring the deeper feelings behind Alex's actions, I made myself numb. "Let go, it hurts." That's all I said. "Are you kidding me? Did you run away? Were you too scared to face the exam?" "Yeah, that's right." It was easier to say that than to receive sympathy, so I answered that way. This only made Alex angrier. "Don't lie. Your brother survived, didn't he? You should have taken the exam, there was nothing you could have done at the hospital." So he knew the reason. I thought to myself. I knew painfully well that there was nothing I could have done at the hospital. But I wanted to be with my brother. There was no point explaining this to Alex. So I stayed silent. Alex, looking like he was about to cry, walked away at my lack of response. After graduation, since I hadn't applied for any private university as a backup, I had no choice but to graduate without a college acceptance. I hadn't applied for private universities because I couldn't afford the tuition. Despite my failure in the college entrance exam, I was asked to give the valedictory speech due to my excellent comprehensive grades and my role as a student council leader. Though I had doubts about whether I was the right person to do it, I fulfilled the request diligently. "Watch me. I will surpass you, no matter what." Alex said so before disappearing from my sight. 15 years have passed since graduation. I am now 33 years old. Today is the day of our class reunion. I took a taxi to the venue. The taxi stopped in front of the entrance. As I got out, I saw Alex stepping out of a foreign car with its parking lights on. I had no business with him, so I headed straight to the entrance. But then a voice called out from behind. "Wait up!" I turned around slowly. In front of me was Alex, looking his age. He was still tall and had a handsome face. His car was a sports car, and even though I wasn't knowledgeable about cars, I could tell it was a luxury vehicle. Noticing my gaze, Alex smiled smugly. "This? It's my car. Nice, isn't it?" "I'm not interested in cars," I said, heading toward the entrance. "Hey, it's been 15 years. Don't be so cold. Didn't you only graduate from high school? I'm a famous doctor now. Busy every day. Both at work and in my personal life. The ladies just can't get enough of me." Did Alex really go out of his way just to tell me this? "Alright, I'm going in," I said, heading to the hotel room for the first part of the reunion. Alex continued to shout from behind, but since he had parked his car on the street, he couldn't leave it unattended. Eventually, he probably parked in the hotel's parking lot and then came to the venue. Even at the first part of the reunion, I was busy avoiding Alex, who kept pestering me. The first party had ended. I stepped out of the venue. Waiting for me, once again, was Alex in front of his fancy car. He said, "Hey, Ted. Poor people will never be able to buy a car." He smirked arrogantly. I sighed. The sound of high heels approached from behind. Alex's eyes widened at the sight. "Whoa, she's gorgeous," he said, covering his mouth with his hand. "President Wagner, I've reserved a luxury hotel for the after-party," I told her. "Thanks, Karen." Alex was stunned by this interaction. "President Wagner?" My secretary, Karen, looked at Alex with a puzzled expression. She had a striking figure, a small face, big round eyes, and long, glossy hair. Everyone passing by couldn't help but stare at Karen. Although I haven't met many celebrities, Karen is often told she could easily blend in with them. "Is this person an acquaintance of yours?" I answered. "Oh, just a former classmate." "I see. I apologize for the late introduction." I'm Karen, Mr. Wagner's secretary.
Karen bowed politely. Alex was frozen in place, awestruck by her beauty. Karen, ignoring Alex's reaction, gestured toward the waiting limousine. The car is ready. Please, go ahead. Thank you. Let's head to the after-party venue. Karen and I walked toward the limousine.
As we walked away, Alex called out, "Hey, Ted.
Wait up." Karen and I turned around together.
Since the driver was waiting, I didn't want to spend much time talking, but there was no choice when he shouted, "You, with a gorgeous secretary, a limo, and a driver, you're the president? How did a poor high school grad like you end up like this?" I sighed softly.
Well, I can't stay long, so I'll keep it brief.
I began to explain what happened after graduation.
My mother, Emily, worked at a general hospital.
There, she met a German doctor.
He's now my stepfather.
Apparently, he fell in love with my mom at first sight. He had remained single but fell for my mom just before he turned 50.
They got married.
My brother Chris, my mom, and I all moved to Germany.
I attended a local university there.
Chris, who needed specialized medical care, received surgery from my stepfather and recovered. The surgery would have cost tens of thousands of dollars, but my stepfather took care of it. With financial worries and concerns about my brother out of the way, I focused on my studies. I already had a strong foundation, so it wasn't too difficult. While studying German, I threw myself into my studies as a university student.
During my time there, I started my own business.
In America, I had aimed to become a doctor, but I discovered a passion for running a medical device company. The business took off, and acquiring other business, it has now become a group company.
I work in Germany as the CEO of a company with thousands of employees. After hearing this, Alex said, "Ted, no way." "Yeah, that's right.
My last name changed to a German one after my mom remarried."
It's understandable that Alex, as a medical professional, knew about my company but didn't connect it with Ted Wagner. I now have a German surname. Anyway, I have to go.
If you're coming to the after party, I'll see you there. I watched Alex stomp his feet in frustration through the rearview mirror as the car started moving.
Karen and I are planning to get married next month.
We've been dating for 2 years. I wanted to propose earlier, but the company kept me so busy that I couldn't find the time for my personal life, which I feel bad about. Starting next year, my brother will also begin working at our company gradually. Although he still has some concerns about his health, we're arranging things so he can work flexibly.
I want to continue providing useful medical devices to many people. And as the head of my family, I also want to ensure my family's happiness.